Charlotte, for me, is a very hard character to play because of how complex she is. There's nothing more human than contradiction. We all are just walking contradictions within ourselves. And I try to show that because we're all very layered, and Charlotte is very layered. So even when she feels emboldened and powerful, there's still those little parts of her that make her go, wait, am I doing the right thing? Or was this all for nothing? Those little slips of doubt that cross your mind that happen to everybody. And so she is very complex in that. And she's very 0 to 100 when it comes to the things that she does.
Oh, yes.
She is remarkably on all the time, full force, no matter what it is or whatever emotion she is feeling. She feels it all.
Nothing's better than this.
It's the Civic Theater Show, presented by Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana.
Nothing's better than this.
I'm John O. What can the late 18th century teach us about the civil unrest, inequality, and political uncertainty of the 21st century? Today, a conversation with the entire cast and the director of The Revolutionists, a play that asks us to consider the following. Which is a better, more effective weapon? Words on a page or the blade of a knife? Set in the French Revolution, The Revolutionists is a comedy delivered by sharp, modern dialogue that never lets up. Our characters are a playwright, an activist, an assassin, and a former queen, all working together to figure out how far is too far to go when the aim is nothing less than revolution. Our four actors do a deep dive into the characters they play, insightful analysis that just scratches the surface of what we can learn about them and ourselves in the eerily parallel worlds of 1793 and 2026. With Sammy Resnick, Onyx Uzuma, Hannah Buckner, and Rachel Young. Here's director Raquel Lopez on why The Revolutionists is not a mere history lesson, but rather the perfect play for this moment in time.
What would you tell your sisters and your brothers if you died by now? Nothing but your followers. Oh, selling your soul for stones. Baby, give me peace. Peace. My heart, your heart. Together. Oh.
I love stories about female relationships. I'm always attracted to that type of material. I used to do musicals. I was a musical theater major. That was my jam for a lot of years. And then it was improv. And then I moved into, oh my God, women are so complex and I love them. And I just love material about them. But this one in particular, I wanted to direct 5 years ago. And
Was this on the schedule for the pandemic year that got canceled?
it was. I
glad that
know.
it's back.
So telling that the year of the woman was canceled. But I
It's a
just
conspiracy.
Kept, yeah, exactly. But I kept hanging in there, and we were going to do it again a couple of years ago. But then we realized we needed another youth show, so it got bumped. And yeah, so I have been waiting a long time, but it's perfect timing because these four women embody these characters perfectly. And if we'd done it any sooner, I don't think it would be this good.
It was scheduled for 5 years ago, and then it got bumped again. But why did it end up being right now being a perfect time for this play?
I plan our seasons about a year and a half in advance, so I can't know. I really can't. But I had a pretty good feeling it would probably be relevant. And I just wanted to do it. I mean, I really, really, really want to tell these stories. So it just worked out. And that happens a lot here. We have a lot of times we'll pick a show not knowing, and then something happens in the world, and it's like, oh, wow, this show just really reflects what's happening right now. So, and this is one of those shows. But it's a comedy, too. It's really fun. So it really is. So
Yeah, I
please
can't wait
come see
to
it.
have the audience to see this show. Let's do quick introductions of the cast for our listeners. Sammy, you play Olympe.
Yes.
Who is this character to you?
Well, Olympe de Gouges was a playwright and activist, and often bridged the gap between, or connected the dots between art and activism. She was an abolitionist. She fought for women's rights. One of the things that she was actually arrested for treason was that she was presenting different ideas of government organization, types of government. And I don't want to spoil what happens in the play, but that is what got her arrested. So yes, very much an artist, activist. She is also known for having not remarried when her husband passed away because she wanted to secure her freedom. So yeah, she's very passionate, I think she wants to do right by everybody. Community is very important to her. These people in her life, even if she's a little skeptical about some of them at first, these women are so, so important to her. And yeah, just really wants to do right by them and make history and leave behind a wonderful legacy.
How much Sammy is there in Olimp?
Oh my gosh. This character feels like home to me for so many reasons. I mean, the excitability of her just works for me. Like, it's just very easy for me to kind of tap into. She's quirky, she's silly, she's passionate, and I would also consider myself an artist activist. So
Follow the beat of your own drum like Olimp does?
I would say so.
I like that.
Thank you.
I think that's a common trait amongst theater people,
Yeah.
I would say, right?
Yeah.
First, we write the drum, and then we follow that beat. Onyx, your character is Marianne. Who is she to you?
Marianne, first reading about her and realizing in the play she is the one fictional character, but an amalgamation of characters, of people that have existed in time, meant a lot to me, especially because there are lines that the character says in the play that reflect that women of color are often neglected or forgotten or not included in history books. And this is an opportunity in this play to show the perspective of a Black woman from an area that had slavery on the revolution. And so seeing that, Marianne being a person that is speaking out against injustice and slavery and recognizing just all of those things that Black women are going to get neglected, that was big for me because it's something that I have noticed in my adulthood, just trying to navigate different roads for employment or where do I belong or passions, and finding that in some spaces diversity is great and in other spaces, in quotations, diversity is great, but it's not. And here's an opportunity to, the best that I can, show who Marianne is based on the script.
I think it's going to be a common theme with all of you. I just have to ask, how much of yourself is there in this character?
Sure. A lot. Marianne in the play is a spy. I wanted to be a spy when I was a kid.
Really?
Yes, I think I was about 11 or 12 when I told my dad, I'm going to be an FBI agent and I want to go to other countries and explore, like figure out like the secrets and bring them home. And he's like, no. Which I told him, okay, fine. But then I kept pursuing like, okay, what are ways I can still work and get secrets? And thought about doing the science part of the FBI. But by the time I actually was mentally ready, I was too old. So I said, okay, we're good. But that part I really resonate with. Marianne is a revolutionary. That's something I don't think I'm as revolutionary, but I am definitely a person that if we need to be out in these streets, we will be out in these streets. I know the first time I ever did that was when Trayvon Martin was murdered. That was my very first protest at Purdue University. And that really resonated a lot, that it's not scary. You are not expected to have all the words or do things, but just showing up and being seen can make a huge difference. And I was able to do that over the years. 2020 was one where I was out in Lafayette and posting and talking to people. I worked in retail at the time, so customers had opinions, and I'm like, you're gonna hear my opinion too, since you shared yours with me. But like, that's something that also resonates. Marianne's a mom. I'm a mom. I'm not as great a mom as she is. She's got 2 kids. I got 1. And for a while, I was like, okay, turn 18. And he has passed 18. He's still in my house. So I think I'm doing okay. And I mean, the one thing that I knew from the beginning, from even the auditions, Marianne's a person that shares encouragement. And I've found over time that's something that comes natural for me. When someone feels down, my first instinct is not to try and find a solution to the problem. It's, okay, let's find the silver lining on the cloud. Let's look at the things you have done well. Even though it feels like life is ending, it's not. This is just a gorge you need to jump across. So a lot of that is me. The one part that isn't me, Marianne will lie to her friends. I don't do that very well. I will tell them, I have words to say. Do you want to hear them bluntly, or do you want me to put them nicely? And never lie to make them feel better. I'm just going to be like, I got nothing to say, kiddo.
You're one of those people, bad poker player. If you lie, you put it on your face. It's readable.
Goodness. I loved COVID times, lockdown, because masks meant I didn't have to fix my face. And nowadays, I have to consciously remember I need to fix my face, which in the kind of job I do, where I work with university students, because sometimes they'll say something and I know my face has changed, and I tell them, I'm not judging you. This is the instinct. Okay, now we're back. And I love that my students are used to it, where they'll say something and I'll look and they're like, I know you're judging, go ahead. I'm like, okay, give me 20 seconds and then we'll move forward.
Oh, that is so
I think
awesome.
I suck at poker. Yeah.
Hannah, you play Charlotte. She is described, I think, as an idealist. Tell us about Charlotte.
Charlotte is a girl who feels really impassioned to take action in her own hands, and she feels very justified in those actions. Gosh, and what a badass she is for it. I am going to guess you're going to ask how much of me is
Go
in her.
for it. Yeah. Let me ask it this way. So Charlotte believes deeply in doing the right thing. Does Hannah similarly believe deeply in doing the right thing?
I mean, I hope we all do.
Even if it means drastic action?
She is probably a little more drastic than I would ever be. But I think I'm a little more 50-50 when it comes to how much of me comes across in Charlotte, because she isn't as artistic as all of the other ladies on the stage are. And she says herself she is not great with words. I myself consider myself a poet, and I think words are remarkably important and powerful. Charlotte feels otherwise and takes action very seriously and directly. And I think that there can be both. I think art a lot of times is a way to inspire action, especially for those who don't feel so emboldened to do it themselves, whether they know it's the right thing to do or not.
Does art give you, Hannah, or do you think it gives Charlotte that moral clarity?
For me, I'd say yes.
Yeah?
I don't know how Charlotte would feel about it.
Okay.
I think she can definitely learn to see its value, especially when she sees how important it is when her friends come to support her with their artistry and being there for her in the ways that they know how, and the ways that they lift her up in the ways she feels she can't. You know, when she's not great with words, she has sisters there who are and will hold her up with their words. So I think she does see that eventually.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Charlotte sees herself as a hero, a realist, or something else? Or a combination of those?
I'd say definitely something in between. She's kind of like, if nobody else is going to do this, I got to take this matter into my own hands. And she, like I said, feels justified in that. In the fact that it's not like this, gosh, this is hard. We might have to cut this part out.
You're doing great. I realize these are, I'm asking you to look deep into this character, right? So, well, okay, why don't we talk about it this way? How does the fact that Charlotte sees herself as an in-betweener, somewhere between hero and realist or something else, that's ambiguity, I guess, in her character. How do you play that? How does the way she thinks of herself, Charlotte, how do you, Hannah, play that?
Oh,
how does it affect your performance
that's
of
a
her?
great one. Charlotte, for me, is a very hard character to play because of how complex she is. There's nothing more human than contradiction. We all are just walking contradictions within ourselves.
Yes.
And I try to show that because we're all very layered, and Charlotte is very layered. So even when she feels emboldened and powerful, there's still those little parts of her that make her go, wait, am I doing the right thing? Or was this all for nothing? Those little slips of doubt that cross your mind that happen to everybody. And so she is very complex in that. And she's very 0 to 100 when it comes to the things that she does.
Oh, yes.
She is remarkably on all the time, full force, no matter what it is or whatever emotion she is feeling. She feels it all.
How about you? Are you always, if I were playing Charlotte, I think that aspect of her I would want to inform how I try to live my own life.
I definitely think for me, it's informing how it's okay to be bold. I'm a very calm person by nature. It is very difficult for me to feel such anger. If I am angry, boy, did we get there from a lot. It takes a lot for me to feel true anger. That's not the case for Charlotte. But regardless of such intense emotions, feeling that boldness to not always have to feel like you need to keep a level head to be taken seriously.
Yeah, so intense emotions. I like that. It's a theme of the play, and I try to let the theme of the play inform this conversation that we have about the play. So, we can just touch on this whenever it comes up. How do each of your characters challenge audiences to wrestle with their moral outcomes and their moral clarity? Rachel, you were on our stage just 2 months ago as Frau Blucher in Young Frankenstein. Yes, I'm going to insert the sound effect there.
Perfect.
You're back already, yay.
Yeah.
Playing Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France. She is, of course, based on the historical figure whose name many people today still know without having to look her up.
Yeah.
Right? The other characters in the play, you might have to look them up, the historical figures, to know who they were. But who is she to you in The Revolutionists?
Everybody knows the same things about Marie Antoinette. And I think that's how she comes into this play. She comes in as the larger than life, the very self-centered, unaware of anybody but her and her status like that. But I definitely think in this play, she's given the opportunity to be more than what she was known for historically. If you deep dive into her, everyone says she had good intentions. She wanted well for people, but she was the depiction of the reason for the revolution. And so this play gives her the opportunity to be more than that, to have a human side outside of just the luxury that she was known for.
Yeah, historically, isn't she often just treated as a symbol rather than a person?
Absolutely.
But you get to play her with great humanity in this play.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I think this story is important in so many ways, but I think another thing that it does is really challenges the audience to realize that people are more than what they present, that there's so much to a story and a person beyond what society has told of them. And this show does a really good job of giving her an arc outside of historically what she's known for, being such a materialist, and with her cake line and all of that, seeming unaware of the struggles that were really happening in the country around her. And so I think it's a really big arc that shows it. Marie Antoinette was used as a tool to show humanity, really, that behind every person is a human.
Yeah, she's unaware of what's happening around her in the country as depicted in the play, but this version of Marie Antoinette, surprisingly modern, and if unaware of what's happening around her, she's very self-aware, right?
Yes.
Plenty of, she's funny. I love how funny she is in this play. You get so many comic one-liners in this play.
I know.
That's got to be
love it.
fun.
I love it.
You also get plenty of long monologues.
She is a wordy lady.
Yeah, how has this character been challenging for you to as an actor to play?
Number one, that wordiness. I haven't done a play personally since middle school. And so coming in, I very much rest on musicals. Music is my safe space, which is why it's usually what I do. So
You too, Onyx.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Music. Yes, always.
Yeah. So coming in and having to do a play and find more. I know how to emote in music, but finding that in the words, I think has been really challenging and eye-opening for me. Being able to tell a story without everything behind it that sometimes you have in musicals,
Yeah.
I think has been really challenging.
So the play, of course, The Revolutionists. Let's give a little bit of historical context here. I wrote this up, and I'm going to apologize in advance for anybody who's listening who's an historian. Okay. The Revolutionists takes place in the late 18th century, specifically Paris, 1793, the Reign of Terror. The French Revolution had been going for about 4 years. King Louis XVI, he couldn't manage things. He was charged with treason. He was put on trial, found guilty, and put to death. The Reign of Terror was a nearly year-long period in which tens of thousands of people were publicly executed in response to a variety of things. Resentment over the centralization of power, the radicalization of political authority, opposition to religious authority, the perceived meddling of foreign countries in their country's internal affairs, and the like. So again, to historians listening, please forgive this as an oversimplification of these key moments in world history. But my purpose is to establish that this play takes place during a time of great societal upheaval, which Raquel, you alluded to. And yet this play, again, as you said, is mostly a comedy. It uses very modern, witty language.
Yes.
Raquel, as the director, how have you helped guide our cast toward a performance that is meant to be engaging and brings out that humanity rather than heavy and academic or political?
Well, it's brilliantly written. It's one of these scripts that you pick it up, you read it. And I mean, the first time I ever read it, I envisioned it and it just all came together so beautifully. But that's Lauren Gunderson, who's the playwright. Yeah, and it's so smart. And I love that it's modern. They don't have French accents. We're talking, without the accents. We're delivering this in a very modern way. And it's not a history lesson per se. It's really about these women. And that's what drew me to the material. And I mean, big picture, yes, what's happening in society, what's going on in the world, for sure. And it's shocking. I think audiences will be shocked to come to this and go, wait a second, this is supposed to have taken place in 1793? I mean, there's a lot of relevance anyway. And, we're supposed to learn from history, but
Yeah, I think
here we are.
learning from history is, I think, what she wants us to do, right? Lauren Gunderson, the playwright, she clearly wants us to examine that brutal period in French history, but it is a period that set up many things to come worldwide as
Sure.
far as the democratization of government and giving people a voice.
Yeah.
She wants us to understand something about the conditions of the time and see parallels in today's world, right?
Absolutely. And I think our audiences will find that. I mean, it's really, but again, so brilliantly written because most of it is comedic. A lot of it is comedic, especially Act One. So it's a great way to present to the audience so they can digest that. It doesn't, you don't sit here, like I said, it's not a history lesson where you're just going to sit through this whole thing and learn just about the French Revolution. It's a lot more complex than that. And so, yeah, it's a ride. It really is. And then there's some sadness for sure and some anger for sure. And there's even music. There's a song. So,
See,
yeah.
Rachel, you said you wanted a musical.
I've got my music.
Sammy, your character Olympe is the playwright within the play.
Yes.
She is in love with theater, not only as an art form, but as a tool for helping society figure out who and what it wants to be. So do you agree with Olympe? I guess my question is, why do you think theater is a good place for asking questions instead of just giving answers?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love this question. This part of Olympe really resonates with me in terms of wanting to tell these stories in the best way and play within the play, sort of, as she's navigating these relationships. And she also asks these questions of, is art futile? And as somebody who has very much, I would say, dedicated my life to the arts, I studied it and have been doing it for a very, very long time. I definitely wrestle with that sometimes. Is there something else that I should be doing with my energy? And I think that's reductive because I think that we can be multiple things. But also, I do think that the experience of coming to the theater and sharing a common experience with other people it's hard to find that in other places and in other types of activities, and to watch and experience the same thing together, even if maybe the takeaways aren't the same, but being able to kind of go on a journey together is really profound, to be in community in that way. And I think that's part of why I keep coming back to theater, but also just stories like this where Olimp has this line, which is not a spoiler, but she says, "Don't settle for the story they're giving you." And I think that is huge. And so when we go on these journeys with these characters, we consider the stories that we have been told and that we have accepted. We have an opportunity to see people that maybe we would not otherwise interact with, or types of people that we might not otherwise interact with, but we get to come together and share something meaningful.
And then we get to see their stories and not just accept the stories that maybe you might have heard about someone different, someone who's from a different place, someone whose skin color is different than yours, someone who's from a different country or has a, yes.
Exactly. It just increases empathy. It calls on our empathy when we're sitting in a theater together watching something.
Yeah, theater is uniquely equipped to do exactly that, I think. Hannah, your character, Charlotte, doesn't feel the same way about theater as Olimp, right? She thinks that theater is useless, especially if it gets in the way of taking action, even violent action in Charlotte's case. She's a pragmatist. She was upset by the deaths of about 1,600 people in what was called the September Massacres of 1792. I looked this up. I had to learn more about the character. And she holds a journalist named Jean-Paul Marat responsible for those deaths. How do you feel about Charlotte's views?
Definitely find art much more important than she does. Charlotte has difficulty separating the two. She finds art frivolous and, like you said, useless, kind of getting in the way of like the real problems at hand. She views art the same way I think many people today view Marie Antoinette, that larger than life, unaware, because if we're paying attention to art and plays, you're not paying attention to what's happening outside. When I totally disagree with that, because art reflects life and life reflects art, and it's all connected. And so just like this play is relevant today, whether it's set in the French Revolution or whenever it could have been set, it's all encircling everyday life and the problems that are outside. And the joys too, I think everything is connected. And
Indeed.
art is very important.
Is action the only way to bring about change?
Marie Antoinette genuinely loved theater and loved the arts and loved all these things. But I think that it is so, action is important, doing is important, but kind of more on what Sammy said, it builds so much empathy. Because even just within the show, you see a Charlotte and you see a Marianne and you see an Olimp, and it's different people and how they react to different things, which is such a mirror on society. Everybody who walks in this building is a different person who has different views and different beliefs and different backgrounds and different calls to action. And so it is so important to be able to just present different stories to them. And that's really what we get to do within the show.
With, I want to call you Marie Antoinette.
Rachel meet Hannah.
Not until the pillows.
Right. Expanding on that, I think a lot of people feel very moved by art and inspired to take action when otherwise, it might seem too inaccessible, when art truly is accessible to everyone, not just certain demographics, or art is everywhere in everything. It might not always present itself the way you expect, but it can inspire the action that you might not feel so emboldened to do otherwise.
Yes, I like that.
I also, jumping off of what Rachel said, what's interesting is in the character descriptions, all four of these characters are described as badasses, but we're very much different kinds of badasses, different kinds of activists. We have different kind of lanes of activism and types of action that we gravitate towards. And I think that's really meaningful too in terms of action, because there's always something that you can do, small, big. There's some way that you can contribute to making the world a better place.
Yeah.
Well said.
In
Thank you.
studying the historical figures, I think I found something very ironic about the character of Charlotte, Hannah. I don't know. Again, not an historian. Maybe I'm going to get this entirely wrong, but it seems to me that Charlotte and the person that she went on to kill, this journalist, Marat, he was a prominent voice for the lower classes, and he was an advocate for the French Revolution. She presumably agreed with him at the most fundamental levels, right? They both wanted change in their society. But by holding him responsible for those September massacres that killed about 1,600 people, as we talked about, Charlotte thought that Marat's actions jeopardized the overall revolution. So she wanted to kill him so that there wouldn't be more killings. So, I mean, there's built-in ironies there, right? Killing to prevent killings and wanted to kill somebody who, it seems to me, on the most fundamental levels, you probably agree with. That, to me, so speaks to the world that we're living in today. There's the parallel that we're fighting over the smallest, I shouldn't call them the smallest things. I don't mean to trivialize things, but we're fighting when I think that most of the people within our country's own borders who are fighting each other probably agree on the most base level of things.
Yeah, I think it really a sense of empathy has been lost among people. People have always been different. People have always had different beliefs, and we live in a country where that is valued, and the value of that and the acceptance of the fact that people believe differently has become so aggressive and so trivialized that we've I think as a society have lost a little bit of that ability to look at people and understand that we are all people.
I would totally agree. The loss of humanity. I mean, we are, we're in at this time. I completely agree, and that's why this play is, it's such a commentary on that, and you really, in the end, you really grasp the humanity of all of these women, and
Yes.
and it really makes you think, which is such a great experience to have. Sure, it's fun to go to a musical and sing along, but it's also really cool to go to a play and come out going, wow, that really made me think about this.
Yeah, Raquel, and this is what we do, right? We want to get people to
that's what we're
see
trying to
these
do, yeah.
these different characters' humanity and
Yeah.
get them
Yeah.
to think in ways maybe that they hadn't thought.
Yeah, absolutely.
Onyx, I'd like to ask you about your character Marianne again, or about the play as a whole. What has surprised you through this process? It's not your first time here at Civic
Right.
Theater, but this is your first main stage play,
My
right?
first main stage play here. What has surprised me? Oh my goodness. One big surprise has been, at least for me, is finding within myself the ability to share this character with everyone as I see her, but also as my fellow cast see her, as Raquel sees her, and take all of it and try to create as real a person as I can. And over the last couple of weeks, it's been like, okay, Marianne's doing all of this, Onyx wouldn't. And as I do that, I'm like, oh no, I've turned this, it's another person. But I think that's how we're able to talk about what we just were going over, that art reflects what's going on, and what's going on is also encapsulated in art. And being able to share this, I'm hoping that someone would see me playing Marianne, but would see Marianne, they wouldn't see me, and be curious and want to learn more. I mean, this was 1793. Like, I wasn't born then. I don't know if someone's a vampire and was born then. Okay, they can let us know. But I want someone to see that and think, okay, I've only ever known about Marie Antoinette, or I've only ever read about the journalist and those in theater that were executed, but I never thought about the effects of the revolution on the slave colonies. I never considered the effects of the revolution on surrounding nations. This was 1793. It was 1776. We had the Declaration of Independence signed in the United States. How is all of that affecting everything else? And I think it brings it back to, I mean, I don't know if it's back to the question because I've kind of forgotten it, but
It's all right.
but with what Rachel and Raquel were saying with Our society has gotten to a lack of empathy and a lack of humanity. I think that lack of curiosity and understanding that your bubble is not someone else's bubble. Pop it and step out for a little bit to see what it is someone else is experiencing. Or like there's the saying, walk in someone else's shoes for like a mile or two. It's not even like a mile or two. Watch them walk it. Like just stand, be quiet, listen, watch them walk it, see what they're experiencing, what it looks like for them through their glasses, as opposed to what you think it looks like. Because as we're seeing in this play, we are getting the perspectives of lots of different people. And the same thing, the one situation was happening, but from all these other avenues. I'm hoping that people see that in the play. Oh yeah, and the question was about being surprised. Yes, that's right. That's where it started. With the character, not a lot of surprise. It was more understanding that she's, like I said earlier, she's the fictional one. So I needed to go and read about people she was possibly based on, which shout out to Kate, our dramaturge, brought up like people in the beginning. I'm like, okay, I got movies to watch, videos to find, things to read. And that really helped to bring it together. And adding to that, I also talked to one of the members of the board, Dr. Juanita Kreider. She's at the Black Cultural Center at Purdue. I've worked with her on For Colored Girls in the past. And so I went to her and said, okay, this is your lane. Tell me more. What should I be thinking about that I'm not thinking about? And I love that the first thing she said is, think about our modern day activists, our revolutionaries from the 20th century, the 21st century. And so I read more about Shirley Chisholm. I read more about Assata Shakur and all of these revolutionary women that I'd maybe only heard about or knew a little bit, but didn't know detail. And just through all of that, it's like, okay, the complexity of human nature, like no one's perfect. There will be decisions that are made that maybe weren't the best decision, but where was your heart in that? And reading, I'm taking it that their hearts were in the right place when they made these choices. And for good, bad, or the ugly, they were trying to bring about change. And so with the character of Marianne and just embracing that, I can see in the character the change she wants to bring about. And I'm hoping that in playing her, that change is also, it also influences people. Because Marianne talks a lot. She has a lot to say. I talk a lot too, but not that way. she's pouring out like these, you can tell she's thought about these things and is now saying it and is trying not to, like trying to reel it all in and be that cool, calm, collected person. And for me, it's like, if this situation is bothering me, you're going to hear it at some point if you're close to me, and it will come out just blah, blah. And then I'll come back to, okay, sorry about just all that venting. Okay, gotta go, bye, deuces, type of thing. I hope people are inspired to just like get that raw experience and feel those raw feelings and be able to speak their mind without worrying about, do I sound dumb? Do I sound like I'm going to alienate people? Do I, like, don't worry about all of that. This is what you felt. Put it on the table and then let everyone else process. Because that's how we get back to understanding one another and where we come from and seeing how, yes, there are differences, but also how alike we are.
Baby, give me
Onyx Uzuma, with Sammy Resnick, Hannah Buckner, Rachel Young, and Raquel Lopez, the cast and director of The Revolutionists. The show runs at the Monon Depot Theater in Lafayette, Indiana, from February 12th through the 21st, 2026, and tickets are available now on our newly redesigned website, LafayetteCivic.org. On the next episode of the Civic Theater Show, a little more from the cast of The Revolutionists. We got to talking about how to deal with social media when it feels like even friends can't agree with each other. And the cast talks about how they've grown really close while rehearsing this play.
The first time we read through the play, we were all sobbing by the end. We just, but it's a comedy.
But
But
I mean, it's mostly comedy.
we just knew that this was going to be special. That first moment that we were sitting at that table, we closed the script and we're like,
Any of us had read the play before that?
Not fully.
not
So,
fully
yeah,
out
hadn't read it
loud.
except for the audition parts, and we're reading through, and it's like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
and just getting to points, and it's like there's all this emotion, and we're not even on stage yet.
Yep.
I left that first day just thinking this is going to be big. This is going to have impact.
That's coming soon on The Civic Theater Show. Music for this podcast is licensed by Audio. That's AUDIIO.com. I'm John O. Thanks for listening. The Civic Theater Show is presented by Civic Theater of Greater Lafayette, Indiana. See yourself here.